One of the most memorable events during the custody battle was when my mom was finally allowed to see me. Um, she actually got into a fist fight with my aunt, and I was in the car, and she wanted more time with me, and my aunt was turning her away, and she just didn't accept that, and they ended up getting into a physical altercation, and I had to watch my mom punch my aunt. Both of those are the two closest family members that I had, and seeing them fight in a physical altercation was just the most shocking thing I think I've ever experienced, because I realized that it was about me and it was my fault, and I blamed myself, um, just for being there, just for being the cause of all this madness. But over time, what I've learned through growing up and snapping out of this behavior that I had, because of the new life that I had been given, was that you just have to understand that life is so short, that treating people in such a way is unacceptable, because from one day to the next you could be enjoying your time with your loved ones and then they're not there. And so my biggest fear was that my behavior would make me do things that I would regret forever, and say things that I would regret forever. And it was true. I treated my mother terribly. I treated her like she was just there to be the head of the household and do everything for me, even growing up into my early or mid-teen years. And I was such a brat that I had to, get my act together pretty quickly. And the thing that did that to me was when I set the lawnmower on fire. I was sent into foster care because my behavior was so out of control that I had to be removed from the household, which I deserved, very much so. I did a terrible thing, and I was sent to a very, very strict foster home, and this foster mom did not tolerate anything. She did not tolerate any bad behavior, and that's exactly what I needed. She straightened me right up, and she brought me back down to earth. And I think that was the thing that I needed in my life to finally be a better person and treat people better, and help me deal with all this stuff that I was dealing with, and the stigma of my family and all that. I think that was my saving grace, is just having a very firm parental figure that didn't tolerate any BS and straightened me right out. And ever since then, I've fortunately been, I think a decent person. I'd like to hope, at least. And that was her goal, was to really straighten everything out that was wrong in my life, because there was a lot. There was definitely a lot. And so I think the custody, this may apply to kids who are going through, their parents divorcing. You have to understand that sometimes you need someone more than yourself to get through it. You need an outside force to help you. And I think a lot of these kids these days who are dealing with divorce or custody battles don't realize that it's okay to reach out for help. And sometimes it's not asked for, but sometimes help is presented. And I think the best way to get through it is to either not try to fight it, or just ask for it. Because if you entrust your well-being with somebody that you can trust, who is willing to help you, or who is required to help you, they'll do it. And so yeah, that's how custody has affected my life. I would definitely want to live anonymously. Definitely. I don't want anything to do with my family. I, it's so exhausting just trying to live my life to serve the convenience of theirs. So I don't want to be associated with them anymore. That would be the first thing. The second thing would be to meet my friends in real life. Because my VR friends, they're fantastic and I love them. But I'd love to meet them in real life and get to know them outside of this beautiful place that we're here. And the third thing I'd want to do is basically start a pit bull rescue, because growing up, I had this dog and he was a pit bull, and I really resonated with him because pit bulls are misunderstood, and sometimes people fear them because they have this stigma attached to them of being these ferocious, awful dogs that just, kill babies and stuff like that. But obviously that's just something that happens with a very small number of those dogs, and pretty much all dogs act out. But pit bulls, for some reason, have much more of a stigma attached to them. And so because of that, pit bulls have really just been abandoned a lot. And so there's a lot of pit bulls out there that need homes. And if I could do anything, I would start a pit bull rescue and save as many as possible. Yeah, my friends have asked me, like, hey, do you have a girlfriend? Hey, like, what do you like? And I'm just like, I can't really talk about that because, first of all, I don't think I'm ever going to have a significant other that I can just truly trust with my whole heart. And secondly, because I'm actually not really allowed to unless the family approves of who they are. So that's definitely going to be a tough challenge for my future, is to find somebody that I can love just unconditionally without having to fear about why they're here. Yes, be kind to others. You have no idea what somebody's going through. You could walk up to any random stranger and they could be going through the hardest thing you could ever imagine. And being unkind to them for no reason, like those people who were rude when we were trying to film this interview, they have no concept of what respect is and what, being kind is, because that's just, it's so hard to know, like, what people are going through. So just be kind to people, because you don't know what they're going through. It costs nothing to be nice, to be respectful, and to care about other people. If you see one of your friends who is maybe going through something, if their body language has changed or if they seem down, just say, hey, are you okay? And that might literally save their life. That's all it can take sometimes to convince somebody to stick around longer. Because I've certainly been there. I've certainly been like, is this really worth it? But then I met my friends, and it absolutely is. Come to VR chat. Honestly, there's so much in this game that makes it more than just a game. You can literally do anything, be anywhere, be anyone you want, and not have to worry about it. And if VR chat isn't an option for you, I would just recommend talking to your family about it. Being like, hey, this is really hard for me. Come to a place like VR chat, because you can be anyone you want and do anything you want, and you don't have to tell anybody who you are or who you're associated with, and you can have your freedom, as difficult as it may be to not be able to have it in the real world. This is about as good as it gets in terms of, just being a normal, regular human being where you don't have to worry about stuff like that. But outside of VR chat, I think one of the things you should do is tell your family, hey, this is really hard for me and I don't know how to keep doing it. And I did that with my family and they suggested that I come here. So what I would tell this person is to ask your family for help, because they can probably find something for you that will give you purpose and you know, help you feel more fulfilled in life and less alone. And you know, because at the end of the day, if you're in the position where you can't live a normal life because of your family, then your family is too, and they have gone through the same thing. And so ask your favorite uncle, ask your favorite aunt, ask your grandma, how do I deal with this? What am I supposed to do? And they're going to tell you, you know, have a small circle, but treat them really well, take care of them, and they will take care of you. And you will never feel alone again. And that's what I'm doing here. You know, my friends here, they are people that I would die for. I would jump in front of a train for them because they would do the same for me. So you don't have to be one of those people with like 5,000 Facebook friends and a bunch of people who follow you around in real life. You can have a really small circle and still be really happy, because you can focus more of your energy on building those relationships with that small group, and you'll never feel alone again. Of course, thank you for having me.